Yeah, so I thought we'd talk about how I lost all my album and everything.
Shit.
Yeah. Every composer's nightmare. There was this, because we get coffee from Wogan.
Shout out.
Yeah.
Wogan, send us some free coffee.
Yeah, it's sponsored by Wogan. That would be nice.
It's fueled this podcast
Yeah,
for
it
many
has.
years.
It really has. Yeah, so there was a delivery from Wogan, and they use this company, Zedify, and there was a knock on the door, and then I went to answer it, and it was the coffee, and there's this guy, and he was like, "Oh, are you a composer?" Because my business title was in my address for the order, and I was like, "Yeah," and he was like, "Oh yeah, I'm a composer too." And I was like, "Oh yeah," and he was like, "Yeah," and he was like,
Most people in Bristol have some kind
all
of...
delivery people are artists.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh yeah," and he was like, "Oh, so what are you up to?" And I was like, "Oh, my computer just died." And he was like, "Oh my god, that's like literally my nightmare." And I was like, "Yeah, that just happened. Lost everything."
Sounds like you're pretty chill about it.
Yeah, I am now.
You weren't like weeping.
I am now. I had a mental breakdown though at the time, and I had to go to the doctors and get put on antidepressants.
Jesus.
It was serious. Well, you were around. You saw it. I mean, you saw how I was. I was broke.
Yeah. But we're making a podcast, so I have to, tell the story.
Yeah.
As if I wasn't there.
Right. Oh yeah. That's true. Yeah. So yeah.
So tell me about what happened.
Well, I was working on my new album, and so I did a year on it. I did. I kind of break it up into preparation. I did about 6 months preparation, which involved spending a couple of months like reorganizing all my drives and looking at all my plugins and looking into organizing my sounds and my synths and my patches and like kind of ordering sounds and synth patches in ways that I was favourable to, so I could access them really easily. Kind of just constructing the sound element of the project. And then I did another sort of probably 6 to 8 months actually of putting together ideas. So just like little inspirations. I had about 70 ideas down. And then I spent some time mixing those ideas. I did all of that in Ableton, which I've been using for about 10 years now, I think. So I did all that. And then I started mixing and I started recording vocals. I did a couple of months recording vocals, writing the lyrics and doing the performances, and then editing, comping, putting it together. And then what was happening? Yeah, we're doing the collaboration. So we just put out the episode for Denise, the collaboration I did with her. I was doing that as well. I did a music video, and then I was making a music video was the trigger. And it was a music video that Denise had sent me some material to create, some footage. Some of the footage was like of her wedding. It's just, I made this really beautiful video. You were the only person to see it before it happened, before it died.
So you're making all this on a Mac?
On my MacBook Pro. Yeah.
And what software are you using to make the video?
Final Cut Pro.
Right.
But what happened was she sent me this material, and the piece is like a piece about the journey of being a composer and an artist, and like all of the people that support you to get there, and like all of the things that you go through in life to kind of, to experience this. So it's really deep and like getting to know Denise, and she sent me footage of her wedding, which is really beautiful. It's really sort of like the love. It's really at the central point, the love of making something for the sake of making something and no other reason. And she sent me all these like really, really kind of like beautiful footage of her and her band. And I matched it because, I've got like loads of old hard drives. with me playing in bands from like 10, 15 years ago. And I found this footage actually of playing a gig in the Golden Lion here in Bristol, when I was playing with a drummer with like full electronics, and it was kind of like this kind of edgy video of us playing on stage. And I loaded it in. I managed to get it to sort of play enough to play you the video, right? I hadn't rendered it, but when I went to render it, it just like went off. Like, and my computer just never does that. It never just goes
So
off.
the whole computer went off, shut down.
And then restarted in like another mode, which wasn't the operating system.
Shit.
Yeah.
So what were you feeling at that point? When you saw that happen?
Just sort of terror, just like for terror and frustration and fatigue, because I'd been making this video for all day, and it was the end of the day, and I went to render it down. I finished it, and then it died. So I managed to restart the computer and then boot it up again. And then, I still had some light left in the day, so I decided to redo it. So I redid the video again, like put it together, because I'd lost it. Like I'd lost the edit. I've got all the footage, so I redid all the footage, and then it died again when I tried to render it again. And then I restarted it again, and I kind of like started to piece together what was going on and why it was doing it. And then I re-pieced it, a real simpler version of the video, which is the one that is now released, I think, at this point of this being broadcast. Transition, it's called. So I managed to put it together and just managed to get away with bouncing it, like the heavens were looking down on me. The gods were looking down on me, letting me do that. And then it died, and then it like really died.
On the same day?
Yeah. So I was so tired at this point, because I'd re-edited a video 3 times in that day. Like pushed myself to the absolute extreme of being able to like work. And then it died. And then my hard drive died. My main hard drive, my 5 terabyte hard drive, which has got like all of my sound files, all of my sample files, all my contact on it, like 5 terabyte
So
chog.
all the work you'd done for the album?
All of the work that I'd done on the album, I backed it up, because everyone knows to double back, right? And I did. I triple backed it. I backed it on the computer, I backed it on the 5 terabyte drive, and I backed it on another drive. But when the computer died, I lost Ableton Live, and basically it was a legit copy. I bought it with a band though years ago, and basically our lead singer was a teacher, so we got a discount on it, and like not even that much, like 50 quid off for educational purposes. So it's a little bit naughty, but we couldn't really afford it, so we got an educational copy, and I've been using that. And the thing is, I don't talk to any of them anymore. So, and the reactivation code is set up on an email that someone else in the band has. So in order for me to regain the software, I would have to get back in touch with that person. I'm just not prepared to do that. So Ableton crashed, my hard drive crashed, my computer died, and my phone died weirdly. So I had like nothing.
So you lost everything.
So I lost a year. I mean, I do have some of the rendered audio files for the tracks that are still in existence, like that I can extract, but I'd never be able to get back the mixes, right? Because, I was mixing like 10 things, and I got all sorts of plugins and EQs and compressors and effects chains and mastering and all this stuff, and I hadn't bounced it to audio yet. I managed to save 1 track from the whole album, A Place You Know, and we'll play it at the end of this so you can hear it. That's the only thing that I managed to finish in time, get it mastered, right? So it's like it's done. Everything else, like 70 ideas, and not just that, but like everything I'd ever done in Ableton I now cannot retrieve, not unless I buy Ableton again, which isn't going to happen. Basically, well, I'll get into it all, but
Okay, so you woke up the next day. How did you feel?
I was sort of just like lost, basically. Like I didn't know. I wasn't really in a like financial position at the time to like buy another computer or.
Oh yeah, they're expensive, aren't they?
Yeah. I mean, I did
It's
look
a
in.
big purchase.
Yeah, I got really obsessed with like looking at what I would get. So refurbished one was like with an M1 chip was where I was going to go, but that was still going to cost me like 600 quid, which I didn't have.
So you spent some time trying to revive the dead computer.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, no, I spent like 10 days
A lot of
every
time.
single day, like rebooting it and like getting it to load an operating system and then it would die. Getting it to load an operating system and then it would die. You know, it'd take hours to like reboot the computer.
It's like in a film, you know, when someone is dying and, you know, the hero is trying to bring them back with CPR and everyone else is like, just give it up. You know, he's already dead.
Classic.
But the hero keeps trying.
Yeah. It's like, no.
And there's like tears in his eyes.
He's like beating the chest of the corpse. And then he's just like, yeah, that kind of did happen.
So you were like the Rock.
Right.
At the end of San Andreas.
Okay.
You know, with his daughter in that boat.
Yeah. That's exactly what it was. Yeah. and then the computer just coughs up loads of seawater and then all over her boobs. Salty boobs on the computer.
Yeah, there's a lot of boob in that film.
There's so much.
There's a lot of
bulbous
running
boobs.
and like low cut top.
Yeah. Exactly. Volcano, earthquakes, and greased nipples.
Oh,
Sorry, is that too far?
there's no nipples.
No, but you can see them. You can see them erect underneath clothes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
They
there
love
are
that, don't they?
nips, but
Get the nipple ice.
yeah,
Get the showgirls ice.
Exactly, there's a lot of ice on the set.
We'd really love it if you could help us to grow the podcast and grow the community. So if there's anyone you have in your life who you think might enjoy Pivotal Slice, please do recommend. It goes a long way.
It does, and you can subscribe to our Patreon for as little as £3. You can also pay a bit more and get exclusive episodes and juicy content.
Or if you fancy buying us a coffee, that would help us a lot to keep growing and give us a little energy boost.
You can write a review on Apple Podcasts, Audible. You can rate us on Spotify, and you can engage us on YouTube by liking, commenting, and subscribing. This will go a long way in moving through the algorithm universe.
So you spent 10 days trying to do CPR.
Yeah.
So what was happening during that time?
I was really sort of like losing my shit basically because I didn't really. I'd lost the drive. I can't remember even how that happened. It just died. It just stopped working. Like I've got another crappy computer that I haven't used for 10 years, and I was sort of plugging the drive in and trying to work some stuff out on it. You know, it's terrible. It's like 20 years old and hardly works. So just adding more stress to the pot really with that. But, you know, I could sort of maybe Google a couple of things and like, you know, maybe transfer something onto something, the operating system to work or something. It was really confusing and stressful. It made me realize that I'm an addict. Like that was it's quite a powerful experience that I'm thankful for now. But at the time it was horrible. Like, I was just...
So what do you mean by that?
Well, I mean, like, you know, I think I have always... there's a lot of levels to it, so it's kind of hard to even distinguish what is what. But essentially, I started being creative and making music to sort of deal with, like, everything being so difficult with my family and all of that, like, growing up. And it was just super tough, and I think I just used music to, like, escape from reality, and I probably still do. So you take away everything, and I've been sober for 4 years now, so I am progressing in a lot of senses and becoming more aware of the stillness, that we all have inside us. But like, music is a spiritual experience, but it's also an escape for me. So I didn't have that. I couldn't do that. It was taken away. Everything was taken away. I couldn't even make a phone call or go on the internet or anything. And it was like being hit in the head with a sledgehammer. Like,
But do you think it's also, when you were younger, you felt like you had no control, and then music was something that you could have full control over? So that's another thing, isn't it? Like, you go to music because it's a place where you have full control. There's no uncertainty, or how we're all dealing with so much uncertainty and anxiety and all of this stuff in life, and you go to music to have that control. But then the laptop dies, which is outside of your control, so you can see why that would really mess up your head.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it did. Yeah, but it was a great experience to have. Like, it was super hard, but it got me on antidepressants, which has been helping me quite a lot. Because I just realised that I just had insomnia for years, and especially around this time, I just couldn't sleep, and OCD, my head was just going around
during
and
the
around.
10 days?
Yeah, way before that, but it just exacerbated all my symptoms to real maximum point, which was good because then I could really understand what was going on because it was so vivid. I think when things are in the background more, you can easily just ignore them, but when you are just faced with them head on, you can't ignore them because they're so huge. So
I'm sure that's true of a lot of loss, people's experiences of loss. You lose everything, or you lose something really important to you, and then it really brings everything into focus.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly, it did. Yeah, so I'm very thankful for the experience, and also I have made some adjustments since. So I managed to get my computer fixed. I took it to someone, paid them to fix it, service it, change the battery died.
So how did you come to that solution then?
How did I come to that solution? That's a good question. I can't really remember. I think I took the computer to the furthest I could take it myself.
Trying to revive it.
Yeah, so I did that. I did manage to get an operating system working after it maybe took 10, 15 days for me to do it, a long time. But there was a bug with one of the operating systems, and I researched a workaround, which was this kind of weird, kind of abstract-y workaround for it, which was that
going into lots of obscure forums.
Yeah, well, mostly Reddit and things like that. Yeah, and just reading a lot and researching a lot about how other people had dealt with different problems, because it's it's 10 years old, the computer. So it's I had to sort of figure it out. And I did manage to figure it out, and I managed to get an operating system working. And then it died again. I got an operating system, but it wouldn't work properly because it was an old one. And then I had to change it. But the fact that I got one working was quite a significant step, because then I could do things within the computer again. Because before I couldn't even get to a system. It was just constantly rebooting. So that was a big step. And then I managed to figure out how to upgrade the operating system, because that was the next big step for me, because it wouldn't upgrade. It just kept dying every time it upgraded. And I managed to find a workaround, which was kind of a weird thing of putting a password into the name or something like that. Not something that I would have thought of myself. I managed to find that out, and then I got an operating system that was compatible, and that was a massive step. That was fucking party time, buzzing my face off. But there were still issues, my battery had died, so I found this guy Raz, and he came and changed my battery and did that. and then it was like I got some advice from him, and I figured out that I'd been using the wrong power adapter. Basically, at some point at a gig that I'd played, the power adapter that I was using, someone took mine and I took theirs by accident at the end of a night, in the Crofters, I think, and it was like a lower wattage charger, and it just basically made one of the cells in my battery expand, sort of blow up internally. So I got that fixed, and then I had like months ahead of me at that point to reinstall everything, because it takes ages. I mean, like 3-4 months. I'm talking about, like 4 days a week sat there installing plugins and installing software, and so I had to like go back to the beginning. And basically, I started using Logic X. So now I use Logic X. I've used all of the DAWs at various points in my life.
What's a DAW?
DAW, Digital Audio Workstation, which is just like a software program that you can sequence music and record, and it's what we use for this and all my music and everything. So I got Logic X and learned it. So I'd used Logic 12 years ago, but it was an earlier version. I think it was Logic 8, and when they switched to Logic version 9, they really changed the fundamentals. Like, it's like became a really, really different program. So I had to sort of just go back to school with Logic X, which is Logic 10, 10.5 I think I've got. So I had to just basically spend every night watching tutorials and reading about how the functionality works, and then integrating it with all my other plugins. And I found some other software as well, which I'd been learning. So yeah, I actually really enjoyed that. It's taken months and months, but there's actually some functionality in Logic that Ableton doesn't have, which is kind of interesting for workflow. So
how do you feel now about all that lost work when you think back to it?
Well, I'm in a different place now, because I just hit 70 new ideas. I'm going to do 100 for my new album, and I feel really good. I feel really good to have overcome it, to have let go of the album that I was working on, to just let go of it. It's just like, I was talking to Clive, who I work with, who does mastering, Dr. Miko, and he was saying, just let it go, because you'll try and retrieve it and you'll just never be able to get it back. So
yeah,
that was really good. Let it go.
I think we do become a bit attached to the work that we create, and I encounter this with writers quite a lot, where they just think that everything they create is precious, and they're really attached to it emotionally, and they want to, everything that they create is they think is sort of worthy of being published. And it's well, no, a lot of it you can just junk and just start afresh, and keep going through that process of kind of shedding and starting anew. And then eventually maybe you'll get to something that is, gold. But it's okay to let go of a lot of the work that we produce, quite a big percentage of it. Just let it go. Just see it as journaling, or, just seeing that stage as one quite important stage of the process, where you're just sort of getting all the junk out of your head, and getting down to that layer that is the gold. And that can take quite a lot of time. So I'm all for just shedding those attachments.
Yeah, definitely. Most of it's shit anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
So it
and that goes for all artists.
Yeah.
Most of the stuff you produce is just junk.
Yeah.
And that's fine. That's the case for all of us. It doesn't mean you're a bad writer or composer, or, whatever medium you're working in. It doesn't mean that. It's what we all go through. What have you learned about this whole addictive pull of music, and kind of what it means?
Well, I'm an addict. I sort of learned. I mean, I knew it before, but like having that experience makes it really obvious and scary. So that's the big takeaway, learning, yeah, I'm an addict.
So how are you managing that now?
I don't know, I'm just aware of it, like in a new way, I guess. I don't really know exactly how to deal with it, but like, yeah, you know, at least I can admit it. It's the first step in the 12 step, and so.
And do you think it's possible to use the creative process in a non-addictive way?
Yeah, I mean, some of it is non-addictive. That's the confusing part. It's like it's not black and white and simple. Some of it is my path in life to do it. I know that. How do you distinguish what is escape, healthy escape, and what's unhealthy escape? I don't know. So, like, you know, I don't know.
It's hard, isn't it, when the roots go so deep to what you're going through in your childhood and teenage years. Because that's when music really came along and saved you.
Yeah, I mean, I'd rather live in a fantasy world than this sort of like grey sludge world that everyone thinks is real. And I'm fine with that. But like, I also don't want to be attached to anything, a slave to anything, right? I don't want to be a slave to it.
But do you think going through this experience where you lost your computer has made you less attached?
I don't know.
I think it has.
Yeah, how? Why'd you say that?
Because you lost it all and you had to kind of face yourself in
Right.
that and take steps to deal with it.
True.
I think that's quite healthy because you realise that you can do that, you know, you survived it.
Yeah, okay.
You realise that, oh, you know, I'm still a person. I'd still have a life.
Yeah.
Still me.
No,
without that.
True. Yeah, you're right. I mean, like, but then I just got into other addictive things, like my meditation and my energy work became even more important to me. Right. So I'm addicted to that as well. So I guess at some point in my life, the universe will take that away. And I'll have to deal with that. But because, you know, I'm an addict, so maybe it's not the thing. It's just the fact that I'm an addict that is the thing, you know? That makes sense.
So
It's not music, it's just that I'm an addict. It's not spirituality.
And is it just about accepting that?
Yeah.
Like accepting that it will always be like that?
Yeah, I think so.
There's a lot of shame around addiction in our world.
Yeah, and everyone's addicted.
Yeah, exactly. And this whole thing where, you know, it's not okay to be addicted to, you know, hard drugs, but it's totally socially acceptable to be addicted to sugar or social media, you know, whatever else, alcohol. But those things aren't really acknowledged as addictions, I don't think.
Or work.
Work, yeah, is a big one.
People get praised for that, don't they?
Yeah, like achievement.
Yeah.
Strange.
Whatever, yeah.
Are you all right?
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously a difficult subject for me, you know?
Yeah.
It's fine.
So you're making a new album now?
Yeah. Making a new album. Back to my old ways. Here we go again. But yeah, better though. I think. Yeah, because I'm a bit more chill actually. You know, reflecting on it, I'm a bit more chill about the whole process now. I'm not taking it so seriously because I think that's what the universe is telling me, like, just be less about outcomes and giving up that other album's like, okay, there is no outcome. And it's kind of fine. So it's all about enjoying the process. So I'm just like doing less, but in a way I'm doing more from doing less. Got to slow down, speed up. And then, so I'm really excited about it all. I'm really, really excited about it. And we'll play now a piece from that album, which I'm super, super proud of. I love it. I'm so happy that it got saved. So we can play that, have a listen to it.
Great.
There's a space inside, and when worlds collide, don't think you'll find nothing and everything. There's something more, there's nothing less. Yes, I confess it isn't life and death. I let go of everything, and I ask for this when I sing. As I give myself openly, as I only want you to be free. There's a place we go to be on our own. It's cold inside the place we are always in. The safety of our higher self, protecting the people that we have been. I tell you I'm everyone, relationship in and gone, the changing form we are from. This reflection, the line in the water, the air underneath the earth. This reflection, the line in the water, the air underneath the earth. I let go of everything, and I ask for this when I sing. As I give myself openly, as I only want you to be free. There's a place we go to be on our own. It's cold inside the place we are always in. The safety of our higher self, protecting the people that we have been. I tell you I'm everyone, relationship in and gone, the changing form we are from. There's a space inside, and when worlds collide, don't think you'll find nothing and everything. There's something more, there's nothing less. Yes, I confess it isn't life and death. I let go of everything, and I ask for this when I sin. As I give myself openly, as I only